been on a lot of dealer websites. A lot of dealer websites. And I think the one common factor that I see, mistake that I see on dealer websites is the call to action buttons on the SRP and VDP pages. I see either people have it way scaled back to where it's one and it's a lead form, and that's it. And the attitude I get is, well, I'll capture, if they want to call, it's, it floats, it's at the top and the bottom, the text and the click to call, so I'll capture the click there. You will, but that's not measuring properly. Let me explain. So when you're measuring where people interact with your site, a lot of people tend to want to just say, oh, well, my lead forms are where I measure that click from the VDP. Well, you're really only measuring.
There are speed traps ahead.
You're really only measuring one way that people can interact with you. One hard conversion, one click to action, one form of communication that they have, a way to reach out to you, and that's it. So if you have, the click to call at the top, the chat at the bottom, and that floats with the page, that's great, but that's not really telling you, hey, this customer came in on the specials page, or came in on the SRP page, or came in on the VDP page. Because the amount of traffic that comes into your homepage really only accounts for maybe 25% at the most of the traffic that comes to your website. The majority of your traffic, and I'm probably being generous there, comes in through the SRP page, VDP page, because that's the way it should come through, right? So we're advertising on vehicle ads, or we're advertising model campaigns, or we have AIA carousels on social. So we're pushing the customers more and more into the SRP and VDP. So, the home pages, that's nice. I guess it's for, returning customers more than anything else. So it's always bizarre to me why we don't organize our home pages for such purpose. So if we know the majority of traffic that comes into the homepage is probably a returning customer, I would absolutely be organizing my homepage to reflect that, with regards to ads, with regards to how I do my banners, with regards to how easily I can organize the navigation bar, because I want people to come back and find where they want to go pretty easily. So I've said this for years and years and years, is a holistic site search, just like Google trains us, just like Amazon trains us, just like eBay trains us. What do we do when we get to Amazon? We put into the search bar what we want to see. We want to see fluffy bunny slippers. We want to see a book about retailing. We want to see a pair of boots. We put that into the search bar, and Amazon shows us, 3 million pairs of boots, or 6 million books on digital marketing, or how to sell cars, or retailing. Anyway, my point being is that's how our sites should work. A little bit more easily as far as searching content goes. And a lot of times when I see content on what is searchable content on a search bar on a website, it's typically just inventory. Well, I'm sorry if I'm the one to break this to you, but sales isn't keeping the lights on at a lot of dealerships. It's a lot of dealerships right now. It's service. Service is what's keeping your store, the doors open and the lights on for a lot of stores. Now with the Fed lowering the interest rate, fingers crossed, that's going to have a nice positive effect on sales. But until then, and for the past probably year, really fixed ops has been the driving force behind what's kept a lot of dealership stores open. Anyway, I digress. So looking at those points of engagement and organizing them in a way that actually makes sense for someone returning to the website would be tantamount to kind of changing the success or failure of your website. Limiting the amount of CTAs on the VDP to 1 is absolutely ridiculous, because not everybody shops the same. So you really have to think about people, the way people shop, and how are people coming to your site, which if you have good analytics, you know how people are coming to your site. So I would highly recommend, when you're looking at your analytics and how people are coming to your site and where they're coming from and how they're, how they got, what were they looking at before they got to your site. Like, I know that's hard to track, but if you know they came from Car Gurus and they came through a vehicle ad, they were looking at other dealerships. They're probably pretty far up on the purchase funnel because they haven't even picked what dealership they want to buy their car at. Just for an example, anybody who just comes to you through a third-party lead site, they're not just shopping your store, they're shopping other stores. So you really want to serve them up why buy messages, why they should buy from your store, why they should make their purchases from, or do their services at your service center, things like that. But if someone's coming in through a VDP, an SRP, or a specials page, they've probably come in through digital advertising. That's the first time they're interacting. If they came in through through a paid ad, that's the first time they're interacting with your store possibly. So then the messaging, the banners on top of the VDP and SRP, if you have to have them, should reflect that. So by organizing your site a little bit better in the ways that people shop, you actually can increase your overall soft and hard conversions. But if you're not thinking like a consumer and you're not paying attention to how people got to what page on your site, your site is going to look very chaotic and very disjointed. So that's my challenge for you for this week, is go back to your website, measure how people are getting to your website, where they're coming from, and then organize the content on those landing pages that the majority of people are coming to or landing on wherever they came from. Organize your website accordingly to offer the why buy messages for first-time users and for returning users, offering the best deal, best incentive, best customer service kinds of messaging. So that's all I got for this week. Happy selling.